It's our Survivor Series Fallout show, and we talk about Sheamus cashing in on Reigns, Undertaker going over Wyatt, Sasha versus Becky, Cesaro being injured, Rusev returning, and tons more right now on Byte That. Hey again, what's going on? You are listening to episode 118 of Byte That's weekly wrestling podcast, the place where we cover what's happening inside of the WWE Squared Circle. Is it good? Is it bad? It is not strong bad. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the show. Remember, we are available every single Tuesday night on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, ByteThat.com, and of course, for this and tons more, there is the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. My name is Juan Velas. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico. And with me for this salty edition of the podcast is Ryan McNulty from Boston, Mass. and Keith Poshik from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Guys, how are you doing?
Pretty good. You know, I was always a Coach Z person.
Yeah?
Yeah,
how'd that turn
he
out?
was always, I don't know, pretty great. I still love him. So, yeah, no, Coach Z was my guy.
If we're talking about Homestar Runner, I liked the Cheat, but
Cheat's pretty good.
It's a pretty good week. It's a short week because of American Thanksgiving. I know you Canadians and
been there, done that like a month ago.
Yeah. Well, this
I
is
get
the
the
real
holidays
Thanksgiving.
too, so don't act like because you may be going there. I'm going to stop you and say that we also celebrate Thanksgiving, and we eat a lot, way too much.
Yeah,
That's a thing.
Yeah. So our Thanksgiving is better than the Canadian one.
Oh,
see, but ours is smarter because yours is so close to Christmas, right? So you're gonna fill your fat face this weekend, and then you're gonna do it again in a month. Like ours, there's a little bit of space in
yours
between.
happens
filling.
when?
In October.
Yeah, but then you got Halloween where you're eating a ton of candy.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm this thing called an adult and don't just load up on candy
Well,
anymore.
that's part of Halloween, so it's like a carb overload. Okay, but let's let's talk about neutral ground, I guess, because this is not going well. We're going to get into battle between each other, and I think we're here more to talk about some interesting things or frustrating and possibly scary things that happened. Long weekend, we had Survivor Series, we had Raw. A lot of these topics are going to be clumped up together, so I want to first get your overall feedback on Survivor Series for the matches first, because I know there's a lot of controversy about the show itself. So, match, did you enjoy it?
You know, Survivor Series was, in that respect, was a good show. It wasn't a great show, but it did have some very good matches. The let's say the positivity match-wise was very front-loaded, whereas the night went on, the matches kind of got worse and worse, with the main event being extremely disappointing to me.
And weird.
I think if they would have given them another 10 minutes, even 5 minutes, would have felt a lot different. But this is like Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns, and they go 10 minutes. That's funky.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much completely agree with Keith. I think it was a very good middle of the road type of pay-per-view. I would not call it bad. Most of the title tournament matches I thought were pretty good. Paige and Charlotte was just like, it was weird. I don't know. I wasn't into it. But yeah, the main event, exactly, too short. We have been hyping up this kind of Reigns-Ambrose matchup. It's something that's never happened before. And like Keith said,
it goes 10
minutes. It just ends very suddenly. I think we all expected just a bigger fight, even though it's face versus face. Like they could have had this go longer and more exciting, kind of like the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns match. But instead, because they had to fit too many things at the end of the show, it suffered for it.
It's just felt so weird because it felt like there was this lack of chemistry between the two when that whole story writes itself. Like, there are two guys that have been friends since day one, partners, probably know all of each other's moves and stuff like that, yet there was just a extreme lack of chemistry when they were in the ring against each other. At least that's what it felt like to me.
I don't think it was so much lack of chemistry. What I think happened is that the match felt rushed, like horribly. It felt like they had like this 15 to 20 minute match planned, but then they told him, with the Sheamus thing, maybe something went over, you have 10 minutes, or maybe you have less. And they literally clumped up the 15-minute match into the 10-minute match. Because even from and this is something that we rarely bring up, but it really annoyed me here, the ring psychology aspect did not exist. The match felt like a WWE 2K14 match. It was like move, kick out. Okay, we got to do this quick. Like, we got to get all the sequences going because, people know our movesets and we got to get our movesets out of the way. And whenever they kicked out, like you saw the spear and you're like, yeah, this is clearly not ending. So why are you even doing here? So we saw moves in certain spots where you don't see that in a WWE match. So that annoyed me because it definitely let you know that something else was about to happen. Because even when Roman Reigns won, it just felt like, wait, what? Even if he overpowered Ambrose, this is not a WWE style match. Okay, so we talked about the matches. Now, from a positive standpoint, is there anything you really enjoyed that caught your eye in the show?
I think I enjoyed the show mostly for the Undertaker's entrance, if that sounded weird, because it was just great. So over the top, so amazing that it almost like adds like +2 positivity points in my head just for that alone. It was very cool, very epic. And I really enjoyed it. The whole coffin thing was really cool. The Brothers of Destruction where Kane did the pyro and it burned the Undertaker symbols. All of it was just awesome.
We got like a WrestleMania entrance at Survivor
Pretty
Series,
much,
basically. Yeah, it was really cool. Match probably I enjoyed the most was probably Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose. I thought the ending sequence was just amazing, even if it involved that rebound clothesline. It was nice to see him get super kicked because he was punished for doing it. That was a great match.
Yeah, I think that was the standout match of the show. The only thing I never like about these tournament style matches is that everybody is magically weaker. Like, I got to bring up the pre-show for a second. Did you guys have a chance to watch the pre-show Survivor Series match?
I caught some of it.
Victor. Okay, so Goldust came back, right? So that is a storyline that's probably going to be happening again. Goldust Stardust, that's awesome. We're probably going to save that for another episode. Victor lost to a power slam from Goldust. Like just the normal quick power slam he does, like the one that Randy does. He just lost to that. And that was the only move he received in the entire match. What? Am I missing something here? Former NXT champion, and that happens?
While we're griping about Survivor Series matches, there is something that drove me crazy in the 2 Survivor Series matches, and that's when the winning team won. They were announced, the sole survivors are so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. That's not a sole survivor! Wouldn't that just be one dude? Wouldn't he just be the sole survivor?
And didn't both matches basically have the same setup? The pre-show match
pretty much
was, Stardust is by himself. Then in the other match, Sheamus is by himself. Didn't that just happen earlier tonight? Like just the whole show
Sheamus
seemed weird.
Sheamus was more abandoned. But let's put it this way: these Survivor Series matches, we didn't even know the participants who were going to be in them until the day of. Is that correct? And we got 2 of them. It's like you just compare this to 1 year ago where we had 2 teams battling it out and one
in the main event.
In the main event, one team wins, the Authority is done. The other team wins, the people on the other team are all fired except for John Cena because John Cena reasons. But now you go to this year and it's, we know Seth Rollins got hurt, but it's like, just let's throw these guys in there. These matches mean literally nothing and you'll forget about them by next week.
It is the definition of filler.
Yeah, pretty much. So I guess
just when we thought maybe they would do something with Survivor Series again, like it had 1 year of a resurgence and now it's back to it's just any other pay-per-view and we'll throw in a 5-man elimination so you don't yell at us.
Well, that being said, both Survivor Series in a row leave us with something to talk about. Last year it was, Dolph Ziggler, like, yes, they're finally going to push that guy. Like, Soul Survivor, amazing performance. And then we sort of saw what happened afterwards. With this show, Roman Reigns becomes your WWE Champion. What was your initial reaction? I will admit mine was very unethical on Twitter, but that's how I felt. What about you guys?
I felt surprised because the match ended so quickly. So I was still just kind of processing. I was like, I expected it. A lot of people rumored he was going to beat Seth Rollins anyway, so it's not a huge surprise.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I was very surprised that it ended when it did. And then that crappy part of my brain that exists, look at the clock, and it's like, oh, okay, there's still like 15, 20 minutes left in this pay-per-view. I guess something's going to happen, right? And then what happened.
Now, let's go baby steps. I'm curious to see what you guys thought in each step of the way. So Triple H comes out. Celebration. Was there any part of your brain that is thinking, now somebody's going to turn on somebody, Reigns is going to join the Authority?
At that point, I kind of clicked. It clicked together that, oh, good, I'm just watching SummerSlam 2013 again, where Triple H is probably going to pedigree and he's going to get cashed in on
Not
Roman
too far
Reigns.
Off.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You knew something was going to happen as soon as you heard the King of Kings music. But I totally expected a cash in at this point because it makes no sense for Reigns to join the Authority when
he just did it by himself.
Yeah, he tells off Triple H, goes through the whole tournament on his own. Now he's going to join Triple H?
Why not? What the twist?
Yeah, I know. That doesn't even make sense for WWE to do. Okay, so they go for the cash in, of course.
Now, as you mentioned, Sheamus comes out, bro kick, cashes in. 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, kick out. What did you think there? Did you think that there was a chance that not only did Reigns win to an awkward crowd reaction, because the whole show, it was the Kevin Owens show. It really was. Even on Ambrose, the people were kind of like, yeah, if we got to pick between Reigns and Ambrose, I'm going with Ambrose, but I don't want either one of them. Did you think there was a chance he was going to kick out and still, technically retain the title?
No. Because that happens with almost every Money in the Bank cash in at this point. Going back to when Edge cashed in the first time, hits his finisher, kick out, hits it again, win. It's just it's a formula that they've used before, and it became quite obvious at some point.
Yeah, no way were they gonna have Reigns go two matches and then Sheamus just loses to him after he just had a match. Like Keith said, that's something that they normally do every once in a while just to add a little suspense.
So now let's talk about the moment that we all wanted to wait for. Sheamus becomes your WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Now, I'm just going to point out that the main event scene right now, just close your eyes, literally close your eyes. People can't see this, but let's all visualize this right now. Let's have a moment here. Your main event scene consists of Sheamus as your WWE Champion, Roman Reigns as the number one contender. Ryan? Number one contender? Ryan, say it. No? Damn, close enough. He's the number one contender. And then King Barrett, who was all the way down at the very bottom, is now also part of the main event scene. Rollins is gone. Randy is gone. Cena is gone. And that's it. That's what we're kind of at. Keith,
can I open my eyes
you
now?
You almost fell asleep there, yeah. You should just keep them close, but okay, yeah. Visualization over.
Oh.
Okay.
Do you like that scene?
Wrestling is just so weird because it's written and there's storylines and stuff. You can have these scenarios where somebody loses to the Lucha Dragons and then leaves the pay-per-view as WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And now all of a sudden, all of that's forgotten because he's at the top of the mountain. Those weird things happen sometimes, and this is one of them.
Has anyone ever been so skyrocketed to the main event scene in one day, so quickly? Sheamus was getting pretty low. He was getting pretty low on the card, even though he was still Money in the Bank. But man,
I would argue that Daniel Bryan's World Heavyweight Championship run is pretty similar because he went from nothing to then World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, but I think in all of these scenarios, because I know I always bring up The Miz.
But it's the champion. Like, you could argue the whole World Champion being the secondary title.
It's totally different, yeah.
And not just that, but I think that with everybody else, even The Miz included, you could at least see a portion of the crowd either really hating that person or really supporting them. But with Sheamus, it was always this stigma of just like, I don't really want you to be involved. I mean, how many months have we literally been talking about this? Like, nothing against the guy, but just the character is not something that we care about. And now the whole main event scene is based on that.
And to that point, Juan, I think you have something there, is that none of the reaction really at its core was for Sheamus. It was either for Roman Reigns or against Roman Reigns. And the fact that he had the championship, you're cheering for Sheamus because you don't want to see Roman with the title, or you're booing him because you wanted Roman to get that win.
One thing I will give Sheamus, he is a heel that people do not like. Whether that's because of what he does on screen or they're just bored of him, you know, that's neither here nor there. People don't like Sheamus. Maybe there's something to do that?
Yeah, I think that this is where they're going to be going with the scene. And this is so weird because I don't think it's been like this for a long time, where they are taking their weaknesses and turning it into their strengths. You're taking guys like King Barrett and Sheamus, who we've talked about for so many times. They have potential, but there's just something missing. And they literally skyrocketed both together. Because King Barrett is part of the scene. It's not like Sheamus moved up. He still interfered in the main event match. And then they're basically piggybacking on that, thank you, to have Roman Reigns be supported. Now, last night's show was in Tennessee, and that crowd ate everything up, and they loved Roman Reigns. But I think that they are using that combination to get Reigns over, even if the way to get to that is a little rocky.
Do you think in a way that them doing this kind of exposes their weakness as a company, at least in a storytelling perspective? Because you've taken these guys and you've skyrocketed them to the top. They've been they've been mainstays in the land of mediocrity forever. But then on the other hand, you have all these guys that say like, oh yeah, they're not good enough. They have a good place, but it's nowhere near the top of the card. Because by doing this, you're saying that, oh, anybody could be there, right? But at the same time, you're saying the exact opposite thing.
Yeah, it's going to take some getting used to because, all right, let's put it this way. Sheamus is the champ now, so instantly he's going to be able to, you know, hang with the upper guys, which he's been. He's been the best booked of, like, I guess this could be a faction we're getting with Sheamus, King Barrett, and Rusev now, who just recently returned. So they were kind of a thing until Rusev got hurt. So now this kind of might be Sheamus's little stable while he's champion. The only thing is they've really never got time to truly build themselves up as credible. And then last night didn't really do them any favors, where Roman Reigns just basically soloed them 3v1, you know, like no problem.
And to Keith's question, I think that as much as what you mentioned should be the case, this is WWE's time to justify all of this, where we may see this as like, yeah, look at all these stars. There's a lack of stars. Their thing can be, we just got that guy that looked like crap in the Survivor Series match as our champion, got booed at the main event of Raw. You know, he got Reigns over on the main event of Raw, and it all happened in less than 24 hours. Like, what are you guys talking about? And the issue with that is, like, you keep hurting us in the process, and instead of worrying about the road, they worry about the payoff, which is something that we've said barely we enjoy.
One example of a time this worked, and it could work here, is JBL. JBL is a guy that they just shot up to the top of SmackDown when they had nobody else. And everyone was like, whoa, this doesn't make sense. Like, they have not built him up at all. Like, he doesn't deserve to be in the main event. You know what? He stayed around long enough. He had good matches and good promos. And then people bought into it. You know, it took a while, but the same thing could happen here.
But keep in mind, in the case of JBL, which I think is the most extreme example, he went from APA to sort of just, he's the former APA member, to JBL, coming out with the limo and then having the stable and all of that. So there was a huge change. But Sheamus, he got a mohawk and some things dangling down his facial hair, and I think that's about it. And I want to point out this quote from Survivor Series. During the match that Sheamus was involved in, one of the commentators, I believe it was Michael Cole, said, Sheamus should use the Money in the Bank to cash in for a new personality. From a company standpoint, kind of going back to your topic, Keith, how do they go to telling us, basically, this guy has no personality, to them being, oh, he's the champion? Like, yeah, that guy we complain about, like, he is the man now. Doesn't that annoy anybody?
That's why.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be the case. There should be a limit.
Oh, I hear you. It's the same reason. Like, hey, he lost to the Lucha Dragons in that match. Does that make them the new #1 contender?
Yeah. So let's get to the announcement. The TLC match, the main event for the title, is Sheamus versus Roman Reigns in a TLC match. What is your guys' hype level?
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to get to see it live, guys. I'm so pumped. All right. #real talk. So last night, I was like kind of okay with Sheamus being champion. I was just like, you know what? This is way different than, sure, we were kind of expecting it, but this is, we've been thinking of Reigns and Rollins and all these people in the title scene for a long time. So now it's just Sheamus. It's something completely out of left field. But then Monday Night Raw happened and like reality sets in and you're like, oh, these are the matches that we're going to have for the next several months. It is the reality era, Ryan. Yes. And Reigns versus Sheamus, just that matchup, even though I think it'll probably be a good match, there's nobody I'm really amped up to get behind.
And that is your main event scene. And I agree. Like, going back to Survivor Series for a second, so Reigns is your champion, and to me, honestly, I was a little bit upset. I was like, too predictable, but something's going to happen. Then Sheamus comes out. Then for a couple of seconds, I'm like, yes, Sheamus. No. Juan, what are you saying? And then Sheamus wins. So then, like, my head is like this bowl of soup, basically, where you're just mixing and it's like, it's not working.
What kind of soup?
Is it broccoli
it's like
cheddar?
Pho. I really like pho. Have you guys had pho? It's delicious. It's like Vietnamese.
No.
It's a PHO. I would add a K to it because then we got to censor it. No, it's called pho though. Like it said pho. Because it's a big... How did this happen? It's like super... Yeah, so basically I wasn't a huge fan of that. Now that's the main event match at TLC. I really don't care. I think it's going to be a great match, but just the characters have never been there for me. We really got to change the topic. Rusev's back, guys. You guys happy about that? It's delicious. Look up. I'll show you a picture after the show. I'll actually tweet it tomorrow. Byte that cast.
Cool.
Rusev. Ryan, I know you're a big supporter of him. Are you happy he's back?
Yeah. We need anybody on this roster right now.
No kidding.
No, I'm happy he's back. I was just kind of sad that it's just kind of like, hey, you're going to get fed to Roman Reigns. But,
that being said...
Being part of this, if this thing becomes a thing, the Sheamus, Barrett, Rusev, if they can actually make it interesting and work, it's really good because then, if the authority's involved, then that means Rusev and Barrett, both, two talented guys who deserve more, might actually get more. So I'm kind of happy about the situation.
Exactly, and if like Rusev and Barrett replace Kane and the Big Show, like their role in the Authority, I think that's a pretty cool thing. I like this combination. I think it has a lot of potential to be good. Let's say that.
You guys want me to go into some bad news already? No pun intended. So every week, This has been a thing for about a month now. We bring up somebody that's been injured. We joke about somebody being injured the next week, and it actually happens. It happened again this week, so I'm getting a little bit afraid now. The guy that seemingly should fit into this mix, if you think to yourself, Reigns, Ambrose, there's no third person, Cena's not there, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, Cesaro. He's out with a shoulder injury, needs surgery, out 4 to 6 months. You guys doing okay? We're taking a lot of blows here.
Cesaro is destined to never climb to the top of WWE. Something will always keep him down. And it's a shame because once again, I feel like he was gaining a lot of momentum and then something happens. That seems to just be the case all the time. So it's really unfortunate. Now him and Tyson Kidd, that tag team, just it doesn't work out well for them.
Yeah, it's not there at all.
Yeah. It's so unfortunate, and it kind of leads me to think about the topic of, is the WWE style just too much at this point? Because everybody's getting injured, they're on the road so long, and they're doing crazy things to their body. Like, it's just going to...
Is it the style, or is it the frequency? You know what I mean?
I think it's more the style, because WWE style has gotten a lot more fast-paced in the last couple of years. It's a lot, let's say, quote, indie, unquote, like as these indie guys have risen up in the WWE, it's gotten like a lot more fast-paced, intense, and maybe that's just finally taking a toll on all these guys.
Isn't it funny though how in the Attitude Era we had chair shots to the head, TLC matches left and right, but the main event scene, with the exception of Triple H with his quad, although that was like a freak accident, we never really saw a lot of injuries based on the matches. It was like a freak thing, kind of like the Seth Rollins situation. But now the product is milder, and we're at the situation where almost the entire main event scene is different than it was 2 weeks ago. Like 2-3 weeks ago, it was completely different, and now this is happening. Cesaro, I think that he is in that Dolph Ziggler category where they had their shot, even though Ziggler managed to become world champion at some point at least. Cesaro, I don't know. This could be a blessing or a curse. I will be devil's advocate saying that maybe he was getting rubbed the wrong way, just in the way that he was getting shots in the match, and then unfortunately it didn't lead to a push. The people were part of him. So unless the Cesaro section maintains its relevance, this could be the end of Cesaro's mid-card push. Guys, let's talk about the Divas division for a couple of minutes, shall we? Two things. One, we got Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. This has been a match that you put it on NXT and it is money. Because they've had a match in NXT and they were outstanding. Like awesome matches that you need to go and watch NXT right now if you have not seen those. On Raw, it's a little scary because we literally got a Divas match. Like, quick match, quick interruption, Schoolboy 1, 2, 3. What did you guys think about that, knowing the history that these two have as part of the Four Horsewomen, can't talk this week, and then everything they've done in NXT?
It kind of hit the point further home that on the course that they're going, the Divas Revolution is never going to be a thing, because it's just not the same. The what's going on in NXT and what's going on in WWE are just so different, and you can take the people out of NXT and apparently not much is going to change.
I think it's a totally different situation, totally different circumstance. People want to compare these two matchups and kind of act like, why wasn't this match as good as this match? WWE's holding them down, all of that.
Really, it's not even that. It's just, it's not the match that you're comparing. It's like the situation, how those two things are so different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, this is the way I looked at it. I looked at it as WWE trying to highlight two divas who haven't gotten a ton of TV time. And sure, it was a 4-minute match. It's not going to be good. You know, think of all the greatest matches of all time and how many of them were 4 minutes long. Exactly. So they're not going to be able to have a fantastic match. But I think the more that they get to actually have matches on Raw, the better. They get more exposure to build them up to feud with whoever the Divas champion is. So it's not going to be amazing, but at least they're getting more TV time because they weren't really getting much before.
You know, Ryan, that was a really good point.
But I do have a counterpoint. I want to make things interesting here. Sasha Banks, you know, she could probably use more exposure, but we've had crowds chanting her name like we want Sasha for multiple Raws, not one, not two. And then Becky Lynch does have a following. It's not like they come out to silence. Yet, this is the payoff. Imagine, by this definition, Ryan, we could have the pay-per-view match between Stone Cold The Rock, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, that's great. So if they have a 4-minute match on Raw, that makes the pay-per-view match matter just as much. Wouldn't that take away? So like going to the Diva situation, I do think that having 4-minute matches on Raw like that, it makes everybody look weak. Because it's not like you even finish the person with your damn finisher. It's like you do the schoolboy roll-up, which happens in every Diva match. So it gets people like me riled up because you're like, don't go back into that well. You were in there and you actually got out for a while.
They only have 3 hours, Juan. They only have 3 hours.
I know, right? We need 4-hour
They have
Raws.
to fit the... sometimes match time gets cut. No, at least it was a distraction roll-up, okay? At least it wasn't a 4-minute clean finish match where they look technically worse.
No.
I don't know. It's somewhat of a compromise. But just because the crowd's chanting, "We want Sasha," that still probably represents, I'm not saying people don't like Sasha Banks, but that still probably represents a small minority of the WWE fan base. There's still a large fan base.
It sounds like you're talking like Vince.
I'm just saying that there is a large fan base that still is not that familiar with Sasha Banks. Yes, a lot of people watch NXT, but it's still, a small portion. I don't think they have 3.5 million network subscribers yet, which is supposed to be the Raw audience, but it has since fallen from that.
Here we go. Here's something else that I want to bring up, not just for Sasha Banks, but I think that something that... Okay, let me rephrase here. I think you just pointed out one of the issues that we as fans have developed over time. People give credit to Stone Cold for starting, Austin 316.
The Divas Revolution? What?
Well, that too. What Stone Cold said at King of the Ring would be irrelevant if the crowd hadn't reacted the night after. By that definition of what you're just saying, it's like if people do we want Sasha, that doesn't necessarily mean we will react. The whole reason we got Austin 316 shirts was because of that one night. Not the one night that Stone Cold said Austin 316, but the one night that they saw something. They didn't know what. They had no idea how far this was going to get, but they took a chance. But now we've gotten so accustomed to that's happening for 1 week. Let's see if that can happen for 2 weeks. Let's see if Cesaro section, woo, it. Like, how much do we have to wait for you to just give the guy a chance to fail? Dolph Ziggler got a chance.
Apparently, they have to get to Daniel Bryan levels of over, and even then, they might still deny you. That is a good point.
Yeah, because even then, at the most extreme, we had the Rumble situation. We had Zack Ryder at a show.
Well, here's my counterpoint, though, is that Stone Cold had gotten a lot more TV time up until the Austin 316 moment.
But he was in no way
Sasha's chance, let's be real, are almost exclusively coming for what she has done in NXT and almost nothing for what she has done in WWE.
But where do you draw that line? Because NXT at the end of the day is a WWE product.
And Victor, who's a former NXT champion, lost to a freaking power slam.
Wait a second, Victor is an NXT champion?
Yeah,
former NXT tag team champion.
Oh, tag champion. Please say tag. I'm like, I don't even think he was FCW
guys,
champion.
Remember when they billed the Ascension as this
dominant,
bad arse dominant team?
Yeah. So it is a situation.
Did you say arse because Sheamus is champion now? We have
pretty
to say
much. I'm conforming.
We have to say Irish curse words.
I think everybody listening, you're getting the gist of the situation. WWE needs to make up their mind, with little things, because notice both topics here are about NXT people moving up to the main roster. It's still part of the WWE product. So don't make people magically become weaker when they go to the main roster, because then...
You have to build people. It's like starting fresh. Okay? There isn't... No. Until NXT has, 3 million people watching it, you have to start over. That is a thing. You have to consider those who are just tuning in.
That's happening with Tyler Breeze, and that's perfectly okay. But they got to a point where, even in NXT, he was sort of not winning the big matches, so it made sense. So it's almost like work on a transitional form so that when they move to the main roster, you're not neglecting the people that watched NXT, but also everybody watching on Raw, you make them want to go back to NXT and see oh yeah, now I get why this person moved up.
Exactly. Like, there is a line somewhere in here where, like, yes, you're moving up to the main roster. You should start from square one, be built up, because you shouldn't just be thrust into the main event picture.
Yeah, thrust.
Yeah, just thrust it right in there. And then people have to lose matches. That's just the nature of the game. Not everybody can win everything, right? But at the same time, if somebody's got something behind them and people are cheering for them, don't just flat out ignore it and be like, oh, they haven't paid the dues yet. And so I think there is a solid line somewhere.
I think there's a compromise. Yes. Okay, they're chanting for Sasha. Let's give Sasha more TV time. You know, maybe they haven't been, optimal with the TV time that they've given her, but I don't think it means she should be Divas champion right now, right away.
Agreed, 100%.
Agreed, absolutely.
Okay, all right, we reached an agreement. Now let's bitch about the Wyatt family, please.
Thank you. Well, the floor is yours.
One more thing.
What?
And I was going to say, if I swear on me mum, if they ever mention who starts the Divas Revolution again, I might just quit. Yeah, I did.
But yeah, Wyatt family, we built them up. We thought they were going to win at Survivor Series. They did not.
We all predicted them to win.
Yeah. Ryan, the floor is yours.
Wow. So, the Wyatt family, they're just... I tweeted out, as soon as that match ended, I said, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt's career. Because that was the nail in the coffin, pun fully intended, because why the hell not? Okay? Yes, I get it. It's The Undertaker's 25th anniversary. He gets a badass entrance. It's Brothers of Destruction, Team Dad Bod, whatever you want to call it. And it ended up being just like a showcase match for these young, talented, 50-plus-year-old men. It was a squash match. It was entirely a squash match. You're squashing the future. Like, Undertaker, of all people, should, one of the most respected guys in the wrestling business. And Kane, two of the most respected guys in the business. I think I said that perfectly because everyone always forgets about Kane. So I think the sequence worked out well. Two of the most respected guys in the wrestling industry. Granted, it's not always their choice. They should have, I don't know, the Wyatt family should have won. They get nothing. It's just part-timers. The best thing you can do in WWE is be a part-timer because your win-loss ratio will be amazing.
Agreed, but even if the Wyatt family didn't win, because I was of the camp where I saw that Undertaker entrance, I'm like, okay, yep, Undertaker's going over. There's no way in hell that the Wyatts are getting a win here. But don't make it a squash match. You built up this whole thing about Bray Wyatt trying to make The Undertaker look weak, and then you just make Bray Wyatt 100 times weaker through that match. It seemed so crazy.
There was a great comment on Squared Circle Reddit that basically said, he harvested their souls. Their effing souls. And he still loses. Like... Let's just backtrack. Kidding. Let's backtrack this whole buildup, okay? Undertaker loses to Brock Lesnar. The Wyatt family come out, beat the crap out of Taker, and take him away and kind of allegedly harvest his soul. So the first 2 weeks, just that first week, I believe, Wyatt won. And I'm pretty sure the rest of the way in that build-up, it was nothing but Wyatt looking like crap, leading into the match, which, since they destroyed that whole harvesting souls thing, because whatever Wyatt says means absolutely nothing. His promos, you might as well hit mute, change the channel, do whatever, because everything he says means nothing. Since then, it was all downhill, and then so it was so lopsided at that point that all of us were sure that the Wyatt family is going to win because it was so lopsided. You got to go with the whole reverse momentum theory of wrestling, that the guy who has momentum going into the pay-per-view will lose. And no, the Wyatt family still loses. So they're done. Now they're beating up on the Dudley boys because, now they're going to try and build them up. But they're done.
This is gonna sound weird, but I think WWE has gotten to the point where it feels like it's a TV show trying to be a movie. Because we've seen this movie about Bray Wyatt so many times, and it ends the same way. So it feels like a movie, and us, that we try to consume it as a TV show, get punished for it. Because it's like, wait, is this the sequel? I thought we were going to see like a spinoff. Oh, it's still the same story. It's still the same story.
To that point, and I think that's a good one. I think where the loop happens is movies have an ending. This happens to Bray Wyatt because... like he gets overthrown and then that's the end of the movie. Wrestling doesn't end. Now, if you're going to make a sequel to that movie, you're either going to raise the stakes with that guy or you're going to bring in something new. And that's where somebody new, that's where the disconnect happens, because it's just the same thing over and over again with Bray Wyatt. But guys, I have a proposal for us I want to bring to the table.
I'm scared, but go ahead.
A pact. I think we should make a pact. Where we promise each other to never be hurt again by Bray Wyatt.
That's not happening.
Yeah. You know what? I'll put it this way. I am never allowed to be hyped for another Bray Wyatt feud ever again.
Yeah. All right. Me and you, Ryan, we got this pact.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Everybody listening, I would really love to know, do you guys feel invested into a future Bray Wyatt storyline, knowing that the conclusion is primarily the same? Send us a tweet, Byte That Cast. YouTube, just drop that in the comment section. I feel like we need a little bit of a break. This has been the longest we have ever in the history of the podcast gone without an announcement. And I think that really goes to show sort of the situation that's happening. So just some really quick announcements to lighten the moods up. We are getting ready for the end of the year edition podcast. Last year, Ryan and I...
The Byties are coming back.
Yeah, the Byties are coming back. And last year, it was episode number 70. You can go over to the channel and check that out. Ryan and I had an in-person version of this, which is our best of a podcast. So... favorite feuds, favorite match, superstar diva. Those are 4 topics we specifically want to get your feedback from. So you can send us an email.
This year I get a vote.
Yeah, hey. This year you get to become part of it. Woo!
Yay!
So yeah, once again, that is favorite feud, favorite match, favorite superstar, favorite diva, and maybe should we add favorite pay-per-view? Should we add that in there?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so those 5. Send us an email. ByteThatCast@gmail.com, listing those. So at some point in that special episode, we're going to be having your picks also in that. So you get to directly be involved in that process. Once again, that is ByteThatCast@gmail.com. And something else, my hard drive is good to go, as you guys beautifully pointed out last week. And Fight Night is ready to go. So next week, it will continue as normal. Now, because the agenda is so tight, I'm just going to throw this in here. Solomon Crow requested his release from NXT, so effective this week, he's no longer part of the roster. Guys, quick 5-second reaction about this. Ryan, Keith, and then myself. Solomon Crow.
Okay, I'm going to go first. Okay, so I saw a way early NXT video of him with his hacker gimmick, and it looked like the coolest thing ever. And then I actually saw his hacker gimmick, and it was awful. And then I guess he tried to do something else, and it didn't work. I don't know. I didn't watch NXT for a while after that.
Yeah, and I pretty much feel the exact same way as you, Ryan. I mean, you never want to see somebody quote-unquote fail, but yeah, Solomon Crow just never seemed to really get into his gears, where he always seemed off or weird or something just didn't fit. And yeah,
Sam, I think that from day one, even the NXT crowd, the Full Sail crowd, was not all that into him. And I think that says a lot, considering they, generally speaking, support everybody that is in the roster. The crowd online also was not a huge fan. We pointed that out in the podcast at some point. So that being said, maybe this is a blessing for him. He can transform himself in the indie scene or something, come back down the line, or just enjoy the ride. NXT and WWE is not the only option out there. So, Mr. Crow, best of luck in your future outside of the WWE, because I can't say endeavors. That's not my thing. Okay, now, just a quick interesting topic. I'm going to take this over to Ryan. There was a report that came out, I believe it was from Dave Meltzer before the podcast began, about the 50-50 Club or the 500 Club. Now, Mr. McNulty, for those that do not know about this, What is it?
So basically, Meltzer talked about how there's a lot of 50-50 booking in WWE, how you'll see a guy win on a pay-per-view, and then the next night on Raw, he loses to the same guy that he just beat, and thus, everyone stays on a plateau where they really can't move up or down. So, we all complain about this, and we're like, why doesn't WWE do this or that? And apparently, the producers backstage, they joke and laugh about this type of booking that they are producing. And they actually call it the 500 Club for all the people that are kind of in this 50-50 booking. So I just kind of wanted to get how you guys feel that they are more than aware of what they're doing and actually are laughing about it.
Can you imagine a world where we have these podcasts, these forums talking about wrestling, and at the end of the day, people backstage just go, just have that guy lose. Like, who cares, right? It's fake.
It's just, that is what it is, but these are people's lives that you're playing with. You're pretty much playing God at that point. Like, especially when you throw let's say finances and stuff into the mix, it gets really messed up and really dark. And I don't know, not okay with it, let's say.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, where you are on the card equals to how much money you make, how much merchandise you make. So it's not like a movie where from day one, like this is your character and this is how much you're getting. With wrestling, it is very much like, can I go higher? Because that would mean more money for me.
Yeah, no, it's no wonder the ratings are where they are. I can't say the company's doing bad because as far as I know, revenues are up for the company. But if ratings keep declining, those are going to start falling too.
Yeah, and playing devil's advocate, we always bring up these reports with a grain of salt. But it is interesting to have a what-if scenario. What if this is really a thing that is happening? And I think that the WWE, this is not the worst moment. We've had way worse weeks or months in WWE where we are forcing ourselves to watch the product.
Tenfold.
Yeah.
Like even
I think it's just that there's not much to be excited for.
Yes.
Right
now.
Agreed.
Because even with the Sheamus thing.
Like who's your favorite wrestler right now? Like who do you watch? Who do you tune in to Raw for?
I actually can't answer that right now.
It's quiet. It's real quiet in here. Besides we all love the New Day, right? But the New Day, at least
you don't tune into Raw for the New Day.
I actually do. I totally do. Yeah. Totally do. But is the New Day like? Is he? You know what I mean? Everyone wants a guy like in the main event scene that they can follow, and unfortunately, that's not the New Day right now. It's like, is it Dean Ambrose?
Is it crazy though? Sorry to interrupt you here, but that they maybe got Barrett and Sheamus involved with New Day in that match just so people that maybe didn't know too much about them got that exposure, and then boom, Sheamus is at the main event. So in theory, they could be using New Day as a way to get other people over. And I think that New Day's part of the show. Kevin Owens, I'm obviously a huge fan of. And But everybody else, like a good chunk of people that I like, Tyson Kidd, Cesaro, Seth Rollins, those two guys primarily, they're out of the picture. So not to WWE's fault, but maybe this is where we have the conversation about having an off season, maybe a future SRT or something. But things are getting a little scared. Can you imagine? Don't answer this right now. Just think about it. Roman Reigns injured, out 9 months. What even happens at that point? Like, that is a reality.
Triple H becomes champion.
And send for John Cena.
Yeah.
Triple H becomes champion. They bring back the New Age out. Oh, wait, Billy Gunn's fired. Never mind.
Exactly. Like, you're running out of X-Pac. Send in X-Pac, man. China, China. Okay, so we've talked a lot about...
Don't googs that one.
Yeah, please don't. That combination never works.
Did you just say googs?
Yeah. I had to do the Tyler Breeze thing.
Yeah, get ready. Hey, thank you for reminding me.
Did you see the Tyler Breeze Q&A thing?
Yeah, that was amazing. Keith, if not, you need to go back. It was part of the Survivor Series pre-show. Summer Rae and Tyler Breeze stole the show.
I did miss that.
And Ryan, thanks for reminding me
that's
that soon you're going to be singing his theme.
I figured the only reason you would accost me is that you had not heard that yet.
Yeah. Ryan. Get those singing chops ready. That's happening December, Christmas gift. Ryan sings Tyler Breeze's theme. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this has been a thick episode. For lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Actually, there are better terms, but I gotta lighten up this.
Hundreds
has been
of them.
A dark episode. So I'm gonna take over to Keith.
Dark and thick.
Which will have questions to hopefully just talk.
Questions. You got questions, we got answered. Let's get off that whole dark and thick thing.
Botchamania's running wild in this episode.
Indeed it is. But if you want Questionomania to run wild, you can send your questions via email, bytethatcast@gmail.com, Twitter, twitter.com/bytethatcast. We ask that you please use the hashtag AskBT. Or YouTube, youtube.com/bytethatcast. Much like Monica G did with our first question. And she says, "Hey guys, I know not all of you will be celebrating Thanksgiving this Thursday. Darn right, because Canadian Thanksgiving is a good Thanksgiving. But let's just say you are, because, you know, America. Okay. What in the WWE are you most thankful for?" She also says one of the things she's most thankful for is your stellar podcast. Thank you very much. And also wedge salads. She's looking at you, Ryan. I don't even know what that means.
No, remember when we were talking about salads and I said wedge salads were garbage because it's just literally like a chunk of iceberg lettuce that they just throw onto your plate and just dump a bunch of dressing on it? Terrible.
Oh, yeah. That is
terrible
garbage.
Salad. Good luck being thankful for that. In WWE, what I'm most thankful for is without question the New Day. They are the one thing that consistently entertains me every single week. So I am most thankful for that.
I'm just thankful for the fact that there is a consistent show on Monday nights, Michael, because even though it can be a bad show, and a lot of times, let's face facts, like out of all the shows throughout the year, we mostly complain about them. But even with the ones that are bad, it's always there. It's like that piece of comfortable, underwear that you always have. It's there for you.
You never take it off and you wear it every day.
It's like you wear it like 4 times a week. It's great. Move on, Keith. What is your answer?
We're thankful on Monday nights, Michael.
You 4 times a week? Okay, sure.
I don't do that. I'm just going to clarify. That is a hyperbole.
You should consider doing laundry more often.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my God, that poor smell. But yeah, the New Day.
Every one time.
I did. We'll save that for Byte That After Dark. But the New Day is definitely what I am most thankful for in the WWE. Consistently the greatest segment on the show. And yeah, there's not a heck of a lot else to be thankful for at this point, really. Thankful for that there's a bright future on the horizon.
Sorta.
But thank you for the question, Miss Monica. Our next one comes in from Barnaballs, Barney Johnson, where this is a little bit of a follow-up, a part 2 to last week, where Juan, he wants to know the origins of Johnny Curtis and why he is so awesome. Before you start, I need to pull out my phone here for a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, pulling out my phone. You have 60 seconds. It starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Curtis was part of NXT Season 3, I believe, in NXT Redemption. His character was literally that he was weird. He kidnapped Max Striker with chloroform. He was involved with Maxine, who you can now see in Lucha Underground. As I forget her name right now. Sorry, I apologize. I'm on the spot. This is difficult.
20 seconds.
And the whole thing was, just that. He was simply put weird and awkward and made everything almost unbearable to watch. But that is exactly why it worked, because he broke the mold that the traditional superstar has, then turned it to Fandango. Things went sour, and there we are. He even makes fun of himself now in the WWE list things on the network.
Awesome. You did that in 40.51 seconds.
You lied. You said there was less time left.
I know.
You bastard.
But thank you for the question, Barnaballs. Our next one comes in from Joe Brown, who asks, what do you say to people when they ask, is wrestling fake or is it real?
Wait, when they ask, is wrestling fake or real?
I think most people just say it's fake.
Well, I would say it's staged or choreographed or whatever. And I usually liken it to things like reality TV, which are also heavily scripted and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would tell them it is predetermined and staged, but a lot of the moves still very much are painful.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Like, at a very, very high level, it is fake. But get dropped on your head 300 days a year and tell me it's not real. So there's stories to it. Some things are predetermined, but there's still a hell of a lot of athleticism that goes on in wrestling.
My best example is always you love soap operas, right? You love movies, you love music. A lot of times
Victor
the people
Newman
that write music,
exactly,
and a lot of times the people that write music, what they write about is not something that really happened to them, and they just contemplate about what if it did happen. Movies, people don't really die. Aerith really didn't die in Final Fantasy VII. She's a fictional character.
Spoilers!
Sorry, breaking news. But I always bring those up.
Do a lot of people say yes to liking soap operas? There are a lot of Days of Our Lives fans in Puerto Rico.
Hey, soap operas is a way of life in Puerto Rico. Like, ridiculous.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
Is menopause a big thing?
There are 2 to 3 hour. I'm going to put Nicole on the spot. Nicole, like, your grandparents watch a soap opera that's like 3 hours long, right? Yep. It is a 3 hour long. It airs daily? Daily. Okay, holy crap.
Dang.
We complain about Raw. Even Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah.
What? How do they even produce that? Okay, we cannot complain about Raw, guys, because they may do 3 hour Raws daily.
Wow.
Yeah, just think about that. Wow.
We have fun every day, Maggle.
No! Move on, Keith.
Don't let WWE know about the soap opera, because Vince is going to start seeing dollar signs.
No kidding. But we see our next question here, don't we? And it comes from Hardwood Classics.
Is that a series on RedTube?
They ask, hello, Byte That Cast. Hello. I want to hear your thoughts on how the WWE should book the Undertaker's Hall of Fame ceremony. Should he break character and actually give a speech? Should he wear a suit or a leather jacket with some leather pants that are not featured on the RedTube series?
This is actually a very good question because
yes, absolutely.
Undertaker has almost exclusively avoided the Hall of Fame ceremonies.
He's been at the Hall of Fame in character.
Save for the Paul Bearer induction where he came out and just kind of paid tribute. He didn't even say anything. So how would they actually handle an Undertaker Hall of Fame ceremony?
Induction.
I honestly think that will be the time where, he's retired, he's done, and he's just going to be out of character. But that's the thing, because if it happens this year, there's a good chance Undertaker's not retired yet, but is still going into the Hall of Fame. So maybe that won't happen and they do an in-character thing. I don't know. I really feel like he should be out of character, but that can't happen until I think he's officially done wrestling.
Agreed. I personally would like to see The Undertaker completely out of character, but that's because in my mind, I would like to see a process happen first. Like, The Undertaker character, let's say that he retires this year. At this year's WrestleMania, or I guess next year's, weird to say, but at WrestleMania 32, The Undertaker character ends. That is the end of The Undertaker as a wrestling character. And then next year, Mark Calloway / The Undertaker man gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Because at that point, you'd be able to separate the two. And you'd have like finality with the Undertaker character. And then just the man goes into the Hall of Fame, does the whole speech, talks about his career. And then we all kind of sail off into the sunset.
That was beautiful, man.
Yeah, that was beautiful. For me, I would actually have the ceremony start off in kayfabe, in character. So he shows up, does the dark voice, but then starts telling a little bit about his story, and then eventually breaks that character. Like, this is the
and
proper
does a
time.
Dance routine.
And then finally does the Taker Rooney. And then just everything goes sour after that. But yeah, do that progression. Like, don't just have him be out of character. Have people be curious. Even in the Hall of Fame, he can finish telling his story. Like,
wait, did you say Hall of Pain?
Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
Hall of Fame. I mixed it. I said Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. Fame with an M.
An Undertaker in character Hall of Fame speech would be kind of amazing.
Nobody can talk today, apparently.
No, we're done. But it would be something along the lines of like, the gates of hell have opened up and welcomed me into the Hall of Fame.
Or something. The gates of hell.
Oh, right. It needs to be a lot slower.
Up. In the crowd's chanting what in between everything he says.
Yeah.
Man,
please do that. That is a reason do not do it in character.
Agreed. But thank you for the question, sir. Our next one comes in from Philly Chili Evans.
Team PCE.
Team PCE is in the house and he says, "Hey gang, hello. What is your opinion on the Triple H Reign of Terror from 2003 to 2004-ish? And do you think long reigns with an unstoppable villain work? And in your opinion, what's the difference between a good long title reign and a bad one?"
I remember even thinking back in the day that although he was a good character, I was getting very tired of him. I think 2003 in particular was a very rough year for WWE, and then going into 2004, we had this whole situation of over Triple H saturating happening. We had the match between Triple H and Booker T at WrestleMania. People thought Booker was going to win. That did not happen. We had Goldberg. We had all these guys basically go down to Triple H, and that kind of sucked. And regarding the long heel reigns with an unstoppable villain, does it work? I think it can work. I think there's a place for it. Sadly, though, as wrestling has gone by, I think people get more and more twitchy about lengthy title reigns. So I don't know. I don't think that Triple H type character works nowadays, like the evolution thing.
Juan, I've got a prime example for you. I went back this weekend and I watched Survivor Series 2003. Now that was a pretty stacked card. You had the ambulance match between Shane McMahon and Kane. You had the buried alive match where the Undertaker got buried alive facing Vince McMahon. Spoilers. You had the Team Austin versus Team Bischoff match where Stone Cold Steve Austin retired. You had all these big, crazy matches and moments. And the thing that ended the show was a one-on-one match between Triple H and Bill Goldberg. Probably the least hype-filled, impactful match on the card. Closed it because Triple H had to be in the main event at that time. I think Triple H's reign of terror, quote unquote, just got to be a little too much.
Yeah, definitely. And this is live, people, in the podcast. Ryan literally died. His connection is gone, so we're going to keep going with the podcast, and hopefully he calls back. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of interesting.
Indeed.
Ryan, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Keith, are you now there?
Yes.
Okay, people. So just like that, the podcast is alive. So, Keith, take it away with the final question.
Indeed. And actually, it's not the final question, good sir. But our next question comes in from USC Punk 88. And he asks, something a little off topic. And just simply asks, how many hours have you played Fallout 4?
Well,
now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm the only one that's played Fallout 4 so far, right?
You would be correct, sir.
Yes, mine is 0.
And looking at my Steam account right now, I've put about 28 hours into Fallout 4, and I am enjoying the living hoo-hum-diddly out of it. I think it is a great game. It runs great on my super-powered computer, and I've been enjoying it. I've been starting to tweak with mods, especially like the sanctuary mods and the building mods. But yeah, I've actually really enjoyed my time with Fallout 4. We'll probably put another 200 hours into it in the near future, knowing myself, and I look forward to all of them. But the reason I wanted to bring up this question was Juan.
Yes.
I believe, let's say people wanted to get more in-depth into your thoughts and video game related conversations. Is there a platform that they could do that on?
Do I need to break down into like a virtual voice? Yes, Keith, thank you. I actually want to make a quick announcement here. Over the weekend, my wife and I officially launched a website called press-pause.net. We also have a YouTube channel. It is Press Pause Net TV if you look us up. I'm going to make sure to tweet that. And the reason is because we've had a lot of people, Byte that thankfully has also helped just grow general audience that want to see some game stuff. But we know that Byte that is primarily a wrestling thing. We do non-wrestling stuff on the side, but I think Press Pause is going to be another a place where we can just have those topic conversations, gameplay and all that stuff. I know you guys are going to collaborate every now and then. That is going to be, you're going to be able to hear more of me talk nonstop. Press Pause, and then Twitch, all that good stuff. It's going to happen over there.
Awesome. So thank you for the question, Mr. USC Punk. And now, our final question of the show.
There we go.
Comes in from the true Prince of Pro, who asks a couple questions. Which character do you think has a better chance of becoming a main eventer? Stardust or Cody Rhodes? Also, where was Darren Young at Survivor Series? That's a hell of a good question. Did he take the day off? Well, he's Mr. No Days Off. I thought he was Mr. No Days Off. Hashtag nickname controversy. Exactly.
That is a controversial topic. Yeah, we do need to think about that. Regarding Stardust and Cody, I would say that Stardust realistically could have actually had some really good things if right at the beginning they just went all deep with that character. Even if it was a short time thing, they could have done something. But now, I can't really pick either.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like too little too late with Stardust. He's kind of just seen as a lower card type of situation. I mean, I guess it could take a lot of building. I think Cody Rhodes probably has more potential than Stardust in the main event scene, even if Stardust does have kind of more character to it, to him. But I don't know. It's tough. I mean, Cody, he's never broken out to that true main level, he definitely has the potential, and we've seen it in his characters, but it's not all come together yet. And yeah, Darren Young, he did take a day off. He literally took a day off because of personal reasons, so he can no longer use that nickname.
Ooh, how unfortunate.
Some days off.
Indeed. But I am of the mind that dashing Cody Rhodes / what would you consider the Cody Rhodes that was that had like the paper bags and stuff? Would that be like?
Would that be dashing Cody Rhodes? I don't know. I wasn't even watching at that time.
Let's say like super evil.
Juan to assist you?
Yeah, that's when he was undashing. Oh. Yeah, when he had the mask and everything. That was amazing.
That is the best Cody Rhodes of all the Cody Rhodeses, including Stardust. If there was a character / era where Cody Rhodes could have been a solid main eventer, it would have been that one. I don't think that he's really captured that again since then. And yeah, Stardust has just fallen so far at this point that I don't know if, but hey, I say that. Has fallen. I say that, but hey, look who is our WWE World Heavyweight Champion at this point. So I guess anything truly is possible.
The Money in the Bank briefcase can do wonderful and controversial things.
Is wonderful the right word?
Yeah. No thing in wrestling can skyrocket somebody to the main event as quickly as a Money in the Bank briefcase. It'll be a good discussion in the future about whether or not it's worn out its welcome, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed. I think it's funny how we always said, Sheamus is going to be the guy to not win the cash-in, and then boom, he defeats Roman Reigns. So thanks everybody for the question, for having an awesome time with us here. The podcast will continue It will literally happen every single Tuesday. But if you have more questions about that, Ryan, do you have is the hype train ready? Can you pour gasoline in it?
The hype train is ready, Juan. Toot, toot. And we want to thank everyone for watching, or why did I say watching? We want to thank everyone for listening to another edition of the Byte That podcast. We have just been sloppy as hell, but hopefully you can forgive us and enjoyed the content.
We get sloppy on Tuesday nights, Michael.
We get sloppy on Tuesday nights, Michael. But there's more content you can enjoy by going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast, and subscribe, because this Thursday we're continuing Fight Night with another episode is back. Juan's hard drive is good to go, so we can edit all the amazing things in the world. There will be another discussion video up this weekend, and also you can check out our SRT from last week where we actually talk about the mid-card and being successful in WWE. What does it take nowadays versus in the past? You can also catch our social media by going to at ByteThatCast for Twitter, as well as Facebook.com/ByteThatCast for Facebook, Instagram, Byte That, Wrestling Amino, Byte That. For everything else, you can go to ByteThat.com. So thank you guys for listening, and have a wonderful American Superior Thanksgiving.